Hello, everybody. Okay, I know it's been a while. There's a reason for it. Um, so, as you saw from my last video that I did with Jory, I was sick. So, I kind of lost my voice. I wasn't really feeling the being on camera thing, and also, I'm still getting over it, and I got this real nice, awesome cold sore. So, I didn't really want to be on camera and be, like, sick and have this fat, ugly, nasty thing on my face. Um, Furthermore, I had a relative die um, last week, and today was the funeral. So I'm a little emotional today. I'm not really a feelings person, so I actually didn't really cry that much. By that I mean I didn't cry at all. um, I don't like going to funerals. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. This is probably the most personal blog I'll ever do for you, but I don't like funerals. I don't like traditions. I don't like family obligations in general because I feel like they're a social test more than anything. And with funerals, it's like a contest of who's the most sad, and I dislike that. So I feel like if I want to be sad and miss a relative, I can be sad and miss a relative without needing to be around other people who are sad. But I went mostly because of the family member that died. I felt like I should have gone. And I talked to Jory about it, and I was like, look, I need to talk to you about something important. I don't want to go to this funeral. Here's why, all of these reasons. Um, but most upsettingly of all, I feel like I would have been judged if I didn't go. And I think that perception is wrong. So I went. It wasn't bad. I had to work right after. But then, like, the thing with sad things is they opened me up to more sad things. So even though, like, I didn't really cry about my uncle passing away because, you know, he was sick. You know, we all knew it was gonna happen eventually, and wasn't too close with him, so like I didn't have any immediate memories to upset me sufficiently. But the thing with sad things is that they open up the door of sad things, and I'm one of those people that I shut them down pretty hard so that I can carry on with my life. So I have all of these sad things up in my brain that I just don't talk about all the time. So like when I see one sad thing, it awakens all the other sad things. So now I have like the problems of the world and the problems of America and the problems of Michigan and all of the people that have ever died before, and all of these things are now in my brain. So now I'm a little emotional. So that's what I deal with today. Um, that said, in general, I'm doing well. It's just today. So let's go back to the writing things, and we'll talk about more important things than my emotional state. I finished my book. So I know that I said I finished Nano on the 10th, but I finished the book yesterday. No, a few days ago. I finished the book a few days ago. And by that, I mean I read through an entire time. It went through an alpha, which was chaos. I have it now in the hands of my mother-in-law and a coworker. Still kind of in alpha mode, which means I left in some shit. And I apologize for it later, because I had like placeholders in there. Like in one place, I literally had name written in there because I hadn't thought of a name yet, and I just moved on. I had a couple little paragraphs like, I think maybe you should put a scene here that does this, and I had left those in too. So that's all cleaned up now. So I did a read through, an alpha, and then I also put it on my Kindle, and that's another trick that people tell you to do when you're in the editing mode is you put it on the Kindle, because seeing it differently will sometimes you read it a little differently. So I caught, I hope, all of my typos and all of those weird idiosyncrasies with the placeholders, and I also wanted to clean up the ending, because the ending that was there was literally like I'm at the end of my book, slap an ending on it and call it good. So now it's a better ending, a much more profound ending. So basically the book is done now. Yeah! And there was much rejoicing. Yeah! Because now Frankie's done with the novel and I'm done with the novel. It's basically ready to publish, but what I'm going to do now is rest it. which is another editing trick. You rest it. You walk away from it for a while, forget it exists, and then later, when you're feeling up to it, you open it up and you read it again, and it'll be like reading it for the first time, because you're going to forget everything that you wrote, and when you read it, you're either going to go, wow, this really sucks, or, huh, I'm actually not that bad. For me, it's mostly the second one. I usually write it thinking it sucks, and then read it thinking it's awesome. So, but that one's done. So I'm going to set it aside now, and then I'm going to beta it while I work on something else. And what I'm going to work on is fixing Achillea. So very soon here, I'm going to guess about a month. If I'm real vigilant, about a month, Achillea will be done too. In the meantime, since I've finished my project, I'm reading. I suspect I'll be doing a lot of reading here very soon, because number one, Chaos had a book that she wrote, and she gave me her old snippets of it, so I'm behind on reading that, and I promised her I would. Frankie just finished Malevolence, so she's going to need a beta, and I mean, I'm an obvious one. I have to read this book. First of all, I read it the first time when she wasn't even finished with it, and this time, she's changed it. This is my dog's toy. So she's changed it, which means that now it's a new book for me. And I can't wait to read it. So there's that. Jory also is at 30-some thousand words, man. She's doing great. So she's going to finish, and she's going to want a beta. Mandy's doing pretty well, so Mandy should finish, and then, I mean, I'm hoping Mandy wants me to beta. And then, what else? Oh, my coworker gave me this book, which I had never heard of before. But she introduced it to me like, hey, I just saw this book, I read this book, and it's darker than Game of Thrones. I was like, you can't just say that and leave it like that. No, you're not getting this. I was like, why is it darker than Game of Thrones? I'm not gonna, well, maybe I will. Okay, so this is apparently some sort of book about this religious order that is preparing for a holy war, and they do it by, like, recruiting children and brainwashing them and teaching them all sorts of violent battle arts. I'm really excited about it. It's not even that big. Look, I can read this in a night if I really wanted to, but I'm going to call it 2-3 days just to be safe as part of a series. So I have that, and then I also have one of my Twitter friends, Kara Braden. I have her romance novel on my Kindle because I like Kara Braden. I've read her fan fiction, and she's awesome. Come to find out, her romance novel is pretty awesome too. So I have that to read. And then I have to go on a reading bender because I'm behind on my reading list. Brandon Sanderson had a new novel out, Words of Radiance. I didn't read that yet. It's about this big. And then Patrick Rothfuss had, I haven't read his second book yet. That's a mistake. And then he also wrote that short story, The Slow Regard of Silent Things. So now I have to read that. Karina Sumner Smith, I read her first book, but I have not yet read her second book, and her third book is now also out. So, yeah, I'm really behind on my reading, and that needs to change. I also have never, don't hate me, I've never read a Neil Gaiman novel, and that is definitely a mistake, because I love Neil Gaiman. I love him as a person. I love his philosophy about writing. And I have to read his books. Like, why haven't I done that yet? My sister loves Neil Gaiman. I know I'm going to love Neil Gaiman. So that has to change too. So I need to be reading for a while. So first, fix Achillea. Second, read all the things. And then I got to get back to writing. But if I'm focusing just on reading, I should be able to read them pretty fast. I probably could read all the books I just mentioned in less than a month. If that was all I did. Because I am a fast reader. Okay, so that is it from me today. I don't really have any advice things for you right now, because right now I'm just kind of like I'm in a break state. Like, I'm relaxing, because I just finished a major project, I'm getting ready to do another major project, and I'm on brain vacation. So, I hope that if you're doing NaNoWriMo right now, you're doing very well. If you need help with anything, you can ask me. I would really love to help you. I have a question and answer page on Wiselike that I've mentioned before. You could also find me on Twitter or Facebook, and I'm more than happy to help you with anything, even from the start of the writing process, from do I even have a good idea? How do I make a protagonist? What do I name them? All the way to, what do I do now that my novel is finished and I need to edit it? How do you find a beta? Like, all of these things I really could help you with. So, keep that in mind. I'm sure that your idea is awesome, or will be. And don't ever give up. Your book is allowed to suck. At least the first draft is. The first draft usually sucks. It's okay. Every famous author will tell you that the first draft usually sucks. And that's fine. But keep at it. Just like with any craft, it's something that you're going to need to practice a lot, and you will be just fine. So, on that note, I'm going to get back to some reading. And I hope that everybody has a great weekend. So, thanks for following, and till next time.